The first hint of dawn was just beginning to paint the sky in soft shades of grey and pink on the morning of September 9th, 2025. Long before most of the city began to stir, two sets of ears twitched in perfect unison. In her kennel, Ziva, a sleek and powerful Belgian Malinois, stretched her long limbs, her muscles coiling like springs. Her intelligent amber eyes blinked open, already alert and focused. She knew this was not an ordinary day. The air itself seemed to hum with a different kind of energy. A low whine escaped her, a sound of pure, unadulterated anticipation. Across the way, in his own spacious run, Gibbs, a noble German shepherd, was already on his feet. He shook his head, his tags jingled softly. Gibbs was the seasoned veteran, the calm to Ziva's fiery spirit. He let out a single deep woof. He was ready. He looked over at his partner. Their eyes met. An unspoken understanding passed between them. Today was a match day. They were the first line of defense. Their handlers, Liam and Chloe, arrived as the sun crested the horizon, voices warm and reassuring. The first order of business, a healthy, high-energy breakfast. Ziva ate with quick, focused intensity. Gibbs ate more measuredly, deliberate. After the meal came grooming, far more than brushing. Liam checked Ziva from nose to tail. He examined her paws for any cuts. He ensured her coat was free of debris. Chloe did the same for Gibbs, hands moving through his thick fur. Her touch was both inspection and deep affection. The dogs stood patiently, relaxed under familiar hands. This ritual solidified their bond and readied them for duty. Their morning routine was a well-practiced ballet of efficiency and purpose, preparing them for the day ahead. The relationship between a working dog and its handler is something truly special. It goes far beyond simple ownership. It is a partnership built on a profound foundation of mutual trust, constant communication, and shared purpose. For Ziva and her handler Liam, this bond was electric. Liam understood every subtle shift in Ziva's posture, the slight stiffening of her tail, the precise angle of her ears. He could read her energy like a book, knowing when she was focused, when she was curious, and when she sensed something was amiss. Ziva, in turn, looked to Liam for every cue, her loyalty absolute, and her desire to please him unwavering. Gibbs and his handler, Chloe, shared a bond that was just as deep, though expressed with a quieter intensity. Chloe's calm and patient nature was the perfect complement to Gibbs's stoic and dependable temperament. She communicated with him through soft-spoken commands and subtle hand signals, a silent language only they seemed to understand. Gibbs, with his years of experience, trusted Chloe's judgment implicitly. He knew that her guidance would always lead him correctly, and he responded with a steadfast reliability that was the hallmark of his breed and his extensive training. Their partnership was a testament to the power of positive reinforcement and a deep, empathetic connection. This incredible bond is not formed overnight. It is the result of thousands of hours spent together in training, at work, and during quiet moments of rest. Liam and Chloe had been with Ziva and Gibbs since they were young dogs, guiding them through every stage of their development. They had celebrated training successes with joyful praise and worked through challenges with endless patience. This shared history created a level of understanding that was almost telepathic. The dogs knew that their handlers would never put them in harm's way, and the handlers knew that their dogs would give everything to complete their mission safely and effectively. As they finished their morning preparations, this connection was on full display. They were not just two handlers and two dogs. They were two perfectly synchronized teams, ready to face whatever the day might bring together. The drive to the stadium was filled with a quiet, focused energy. Ziva sat in her crate, her nose twitching as she sampled the changing scents in the air, while Gibbs lay calmly, conserving his energy for the task ahead. As they drew closer, the low hum of the city gave way to a new kind of sound, the distant, growing roar of a stadium coming to life. Even hours before kickoff, the area was a hive of activity. Roadies were setting up merchandise stalls. Food vendors were firing up their grills. The first wave of team staff and media were already arriving. It was a sensory explosion, a world of new smells, sights, and sounds. When Liam opened the van door, the wall of noise and activity hit them. The air was thick with the smell of sizzling onions, freshly cut grass, the faint but distinct scent of thousands of people gathering. Ziva's ears swiveled, taking in every distinct sound, from the clatter of metal barricades being moved into place to the cheerful shouts of early arriving fans. Gibbs stood beside Chloe, his gaze sweeping across the scene with a calm, assessing authority. For any other dog, this environment would be overwhelmingly stressful. For Ziva and Gibbs, it was simply their office, and they were ready to get to work. Their first task was to acclimate themselves to the environment before the masses descended. Liam and Chloe led them on a slow, deliberate walk around the stadium's perimeter. This initial patrol allowed the dogs to create a baseline scent profile of the area. They needed to know what the stadium should smell like on a match day so that anything unusual would stand out immediately. Ziva moved with a quick inquisitive pace, her nose to the ground, while Gibbs walked with a more measured, regal stride, his head held high as he scanned the area, visually as well as with his powerful sense of smell. This pre-crowd sweep was one of the most critical parts of their job. They checked behind dumpsters, along service corridors, near entry gates. Liam and Chloe watched their dog's body language intently, looking for any indication that they had detected something out of the ordinary. They were mapping the entire area with their senses, preparing a mental and olfactory blueprint of the grounds before the gates were opened to the public. Once the perimeter was established as clear, the teams moved inside the vast, empty stadium. The silence within the cavernous space was almost reverent, a stark contrast to the chaos that would erupt in just a few hours. Every sound echoed, from the handler's footsteps on the concrete concourse to the gentle jingle of the dog's tags. This was where their specialized training truly shone. Their mission was to conduct a thorough sweep of the stands, of the corporate boxes, of the locker rooms, ensuring the entire venue was secure before a single fan was allowed to enter. It was a monumental task, but one they were perfectly equipped to handle. Ziva, with her boundless energy, was let off her lead in a controlled section of the stands.
Find it, Ziva, find it.
She bounded up the stairs, a blur of fawn-colored fur, her nose working like a high-speed data processor. She darted under rows of seats, sniffing methodically, instantly discarding the thousands of mundane scents, spilled soda, popcorn, cleaning supplies. She was searching for specific, trained odors associated with explosive materials, scents alien to this environment that would trigger an immediate alert. Her movements were a dance of precision and instinct. Gibbs, working with Chloe, took on the lower levels and the more confined spaces of the VIP lounges and player areas. He didn't rush, he moved with quiet, deliberate grace, sweeping his nose along locker doors, under benches, behind curtains. Chloe walked a few paces behind, giving him the space he needed to work, but remaining close enough to see his slightest signal. Gibbs's indication was subtle. He would simply stop and sit, his body becoming perfectly still, his gaze fixed on the source of the scent. This calm alert prevented panic and allowed his handler to assess the situation safely. A dog's sense of smell is estimated to be tens of thousands of times more sensitive than a human's, making them an invaluable and irreplaceable asset in modern security operations. As the stadium gates swung open, the atmosphere transformed in an instant. The low hum of anticipation erupted into a full-throated roar of excitement. Thousands of fans, dressed in their team's colors, began to stream into the concourses. The air filled with the sounds of chanting, singing and chanting, and just that joyous chatter everywhere. For Ziva and Gibbs, this was the second phase of their mission. Their job shifted from methodical searching to active patrolling. They became mobile deterrents and observers, moving with their handlers through the swelling river of people, their presence a calm and reassuring symbol of safety for the genuine fans. Navigating the dense crowds required immense focus and discipline from the dogs. Ziva, walking closely at Liam's left side, ignored the outstretched hands and excited calls from fans. Her training had taught her to remain neutral and focused on her handler, her eyes constantly scanning the crowd and her nose sampling the air for anything unusual. She moved with a fluid grace, weaving through the tightly packed groups of people without causing any disruption. Her very presence was often enough to deter any potential troublemakers. Her serious demeanor and official harness clearly marking her as a working professional on duty. Gibbs, with his imposing yet calm stature, had a similar effect. He walked steadily beside Chloe, a silent, watchful guardian amidst the chaos. Many fans, especially those with children, would part ways respectfully to let them pass, offering nods of appreciation. Chloe kept a firm but gentle hand on his lead, guiding him through the busiest sections of the stadium. Gibbs's job was to be seen, to project an aura of control and security. He was not just looking for threats, he was an integral part of creating a safe and welcoming environment for everyone to enjoy the match without fear. Throughout this period, the communication between the dogs and their handlers was constant and subtle. A slight tightening of the lead, a soft verbal cue, or a simple hand signal was all that was needed to direct their attention. They patrolled the entryways, the food court areas, and the paths leading to the stands, always on the move. Their keen senses were attuned to the subtle signs of stress or deception that a human officer might miss in the overwhelming environment. Just as the first half of the match was reaching its frantic conclusion, a call came over Liam's radio. A stadium steward had reported an unattended backpack left under a seat in a less crowded upper section. While most such incidents turn out to be harmless, all a fan simply forgetting their belongings in the excitement, every single one has to be treated as a potential threat. This was the moment their training was for. Liam and Chloe immediately began moving towards the reported location, the dogs sensing the shift in their handler's demeanor and becoming instantly more alert. Their pace quickened, their focus sharpening on the new objective. Upon reaching the section, they found it had been cordoned off by stewards, creating a safe perimeter. The bag was a simple black backpack sitting innocently under a blue plastic seat. From a distance, it was impossible to know its contents. Chloe gave Gibbs the command. "Check it, Gibbs," she said, her voice calm and steady. Gibbs approached the bag cautiously, his body low to the ground. He circled it once, his nose twitching rapidly as he analyzed the scents emanating from it. The entire area fell silent, the distant roar of the game seeming a world away as everyone watched the stoic German Shepherd at work. After a few moments of intense sniffing, Gibbs did something that brought a wave of relief to everyone watching. He looked back at Chloe, gave a slight shake of his head, and then sat down a few feet away from the bag, indicating it was clear of any explosive sense he was trained to detect. He showed no signs of his specific alert posture. His calm demeanor signaled that from his expert perspective, the bag did not contain a bomb. With Gibbs's all clear, a human officer was able to approach the bag more safely to inspect its contents. As expected, it was filled with nothing more than a souvenir scarf, a program from the match, and a half-eaten sandwich. A perfect demonstration of how they worked as a team. While their primary role was security, Ziva and Gibbs also played another unofficial role, ambassadors of goodwill. During the quieter moments of their patrol, before the game, during halftime, they often became the center of positive attention. Families would often approach Chloe and Liam, especially those with children, faces full of admiration for the magnificent dogs. "Can we pet your dog?" was a frequent and hopeful question. Depending on the situation and the dog's focus, the handlers would sometimes allow for brief, calm interactions. These moments were wonderful for public relations. One such interaction occurred near a food stall. A small boy, no older than 7, stood mesmerized by Gibbs. He was wearing his team's full kit. He looked at the German Shepherd with wide, adoring eyes. He was a little scared, but also incredibly curious. Chloe noticed and knelt down, bringing Gibbs to a calm sit. "He's very friendly, but he's working hard today," she explained to the boy and his father. "You can give him a gentle pat on his shoulder if you like." The boy's face lit up as he cautiously reached out and stroked Gibbs's thick coat. Gibbs remained perfectly still, accepting the affection with his usual stoic grace. These interactions helped to humanize the security operation and build trust with the public. Seeing the dogs up close, people could appreciate their impressive skills and their gentle, disciplined nature. Not aggressive animals, but highly trained professionals with a calm and stable temperament. Ziva, with her intense gaze, often drew looks of awe. Liam would explain her breed and role. Fans would listen with fascination, gaining a new appreciation for the work that went into keeping them safe at the match. The dogs were more than just security assets. They were heroes in the eyes of many. As handlers and dogs patrolled, they would hear shouts of, "Thank you for your service. Good dogs." People would take photos and post them online, praising the amazing work of the canine teams. As the final whistle blew, a massive roar erupted from the stadium, signaling the end of the game. One half of the stadium was jubilant, the other disappointed, but the collective energy was immense. For Ziva and Gibbs, however, the day was not yet over. The post-match period was just as critical as the pre-game sweep. Their task now was to help ensure a safe and orderly exit for the tens of thousands of fans pouring out of the stadium. They repositioned themselves near the main gates and transport hubs, areas that could become dangerously congested. The dogs and their handlers stood as steadfast pillars of calm amid the moving sea of humanity. The atmosphere could be volatile, with high emotions running through the departing crowds. Ziva and Gibbs's presence helped to maintain a sense of order. Their visibility discouraged any potential conflicts or antisocial behavior that can sometimes flare up after a passionate match. Liam kept Ziva on a short lead, her focus absolute as she scanned the faces in the crowd, while Chloe and Gibbs monitored the flow of people heading towards the train station, ensuring there were no dangerous crushes. They remained on duty until the vast majority of the crowd had dispersed and the stadium grounds began to quiet down once more. The energy that had been so electric just an hour before was now fading, leaving behind a sense of weary satisfaction. The grounds were littered with discarded cups and wrappers, a testament to the massive event that had just taken place. Ziva and Gibbs conducted one final quick patrol of the immediate area, ensuring nothing had been left behind and no one was lingering where they shouldn't be. Their movements were slower now, their bodies tired from the long hours on their feet. Finally, with the stadium nearly empty and the security operation winding down,
Liam and Chloe gave their partners the command they had been waiting for. All done.
the change in the dogs was immediate. Ziva's posture softened and she leaned against Liam's leg, letting out a long sigh. Gibbs's tail gave a few happy thumps against Chloe's leg. They walked back to the van. Their working harnesses were removed and they were given fresh water and heaps of praise.
You were brilliant today, Z, Liam said, stroking her head. Best partner a guy could ask for.